Hello, everyone, and welcome. My name is Caroline Garnett McGraw with The Clearing, and we are a non 12-step dual diagnosis residential addiction treatment center. And what that means in plain English is that we work with people who deal with depression, anxiety, addiction issues, trauma, grief, loss, despair, hopelessness, all the underlying core issues that precipitate drug addiction and alcohol addiction. And today our topic is My Family Hurt Me. Do I Need to Forgive Them? This is a big one going into the holiday season because I know for many of you, you may be booking your planes, trains, and automobiles in order to get to your family. And so this is top of mind for a lot of our listeners. So let's really take this apart and break it into two parts. The first part is My Family Hurt Me. And what I want to say before we dive into this is that when it comes to our own participants and the people that we help and support, we do have people who had really traumatic experiences within their families, who went through a lot of abuse and neglect and heartache. And we never, ever want to minimize that. And we never want to condone that either. That being said, we've also worked with participants who really struggled with alcohol addiction, depression, anxiety, all of these things. And they had what they themselves would call great childhoods. They didn't have on paper the same tragedies and the same difficulties. But what we know now is that it's not just about the external events that happen in our lives. It's how we interpret them. It's how we respond to them and how we take them in. Because the experience of trauma, what defines a trauma, is entirely subjective. It's all about how it feels to you. So if it feels shocking and upsetting to you, then it counts as psychological trauma. So with that being said, I want to take apart this idea of my family hurt me. So once again, this is not minimizing the reality of if someone's physically abusive to you, if they slap you in the face, then yes, in one sense, that's a very real definition of someone else is hurting me. On a deeper level, though, on a more nuanced and psychological level, I want to look at this idea that someone else can hurt you through the lens of a principle of spiritual psychology, which is as follows: nothing outside of you causes your disturbances. Nothing outside of you causes your disturbances. And so the broader point here is that you are the sovereign of your own inner experience. So as an example, even with that case study of someone is physically assaulting you, if someone slaps you on the face, you may feel the same degree of physical pain as another person, but depending on what you make that mean, it will have a very different impact on your consciousness. If you have the experience of someone slapping you and you make that mean, wow, I'm worthless, I'm a total loser, I deserved that, I provoked them, I'm bad. If you make that mean that, it's much more traumatic than someone who experiences the same slap on the face and has a different interpretation. Another interpretation might be, wow, that other person is really deeply troubled and unhinged, and I need to get away from them and I need to protect myself. That's an equally valid interpretation, but it doesn't have the layers of judgment and shame and blame on it. So you can see how, even if the same physical reality happens, the way we interpret it really affects our internal experience. So if we say, my family hurt me, we want to look more deeply at that, because the other layer of this is that often when we say that, my family hurts me, my family's hurting me, usually what's happening in that moment is that you're not with your family when you're telling that story. You're the one who's remembering the past hurts, and you're essentially hurting yourself with your own memories. A little bit of a trip, but I share that with you as an empowering truth that you get to determine what you think about, what you focus on, and you get to decide what their behavior means. If they're verbally abusive to you, for example, you could decide that means I'm worthless, or that means I did something to cause this, or that means I need to stay here and convince them to change their minds and treat me better. Or you could decide, you know what? I'm just going to say very calmly and clearly, you may not speak to me that way. And then you leave the room and say that you won't speak again until they can be respectful. That's another way of handling it. So to wrap that portion up, I want to repeat the first principle of spiritual psychology I shared, which is Nothing outside of you causes your disturbances, which is actually profoundly empowering because you are the ruler of your inner experience. And the second principle is that you are completely responsible for your experiences in life. And again, you might hear that and you might think, well, I wasn't responsible for the time when that person hit me. I didn't do that. I didn't cause that. That's not what it's saying. It's saying that you're responsible for your experience, which is your subjective felt reality, essentially. So you may not be able to control whether someone else hits you or verbally abuses you, but you control your inner experience. And you also have dominion over what you do in response to that. Again, you can leave the situation, you can set a different boundary around your relationship. There are lots of things that you can do. So that's how we take apart the first part of this question, my family hurt me. And now I want to dive a little bit into this idea of, do I need to forgive them? Because this is one of the most profound lessons that I learned at the clearing, and one of the most surprising things for our participants. Because a lot of recovery programs, particularly 12-step based ones, teach that an essential part of your recovery is that you seek forgiveness from others for the wrongs that you have done. And so often people expect that they're going to need to do that as a part of our program. And they're very surprised when our program actually doesn't include that. And the reason being is twofold. So here is what we have learned and what we've experienced about forgiveness. The first truth is that we don't hold any power by withholding our forgiveness. So what that means for this statement is, my family hurt me. Do I need to forgive them? That means that you don't hold any power over your family if you don't agree to forgive them, because it doesn't affect them. It's only affecting you in your heart and in your mind and in your spirit. So often we have this idea that if we forgive someone, we give our power away, and it means that we condone what they did. And what this is saying is, no, we don't gain any power by withholding forgiveness. We don't lose any power if we offer it. That's not the nature of forgiveness. And the second point is, it's actually not important for us to forgive another or to receive their forgiveness. I get that this is very controversial, but bear with me. What is important is for us to forgive ourselves for judging ourselves, and to forgive ourselves for judging the other person. So I'll say that again. What is important is that we forgive ourselves for judging ourselves, and we forgive ourselves for judging the other person. Because once again, our lack of forgiveness does not give us any power over that other person. It just makes our inner experience miserable. And so when we learn how to offer ourselves forgiveness for our self-judgments and our other judgments, then we are free. We're free to show up. We're free to love. We're free to take care of ourselves and to have compassion for others who may have dysfunctional behavior that was difficult for us to bear. And it's truly more freeing than you can imagine. So with all of that being said, my family hurt me. Do I need to forgive them? The way to sum this up is, you're responsible for your inner experience. So you get to decide what hurts you and what that means. And you also get to forgive yourself for judging yourself and for judging your family. So all of that being said, before I wrap, I'm just going to look over in the comments because I know we have some people watching live. Hello, Gracie. Hello, Kimberly. Hello, Tuti and Vicky. Thank you for the hearts. Thank you, everyone, for watching. I hope this empowered you to go forward into the holiday season and just know that you're responsible for your experiences, for what happens inside you in your life. And again, that doesn't mean that you don't take care of yourself. That doesn't mean you set yourself up to be abused or to be in a bad situation. One of our founders, Betsy Kelzer, has this beautiful litmus test of whether she should be in a situation that she thinks might be problematic. And the question she brings up is, would it be safe would I bring a child into this situation? Would I bring a 5-year-old, or would I bring a 6-year-old, or would it be unsafe for them? And if it would be unsafe for that child, then Betsy doesn't bring herself into that situation, because the idea is that she says, we are all the ages we've ever been. We're still a 4-year-old and a 5-year-old and a 6-year-old, even though we're 50, 60, however old we are. We still carry those selves within us. So we don't put ourselves in situations that are hurtful. And if we do find ourselves in them, we get to take care of ourselves. We have the right to take care of ourselves and the children we were and are. So thank you everyone for watching. Thank you for listening. Oh, I just saw one more comment come up. Carrie, I have to forgive to make my life much better. Yes. Yes. And the amazing thing is that you get to be the one who makes that decision. And Debbie says, thank you. Just as we close, I will offer a short script that we use in our program to offer ourselves forgiveness. So the way to do this is you close your eyes, you take deep breaths, you get really centered in your loving heart. And what that means is that you picture someone or something that you love deeply. You can picture a baby, you can picture a dog or a cat that's been your companion. And then when you've gotten that loving heart space, then you offer yourself forgiveness like this. I forgive myself for judging myself as fill in the blank. And the truth is fill in the blank. And when you say what the truth is, you say it from that place of love. You say it from that place of being grounded and centered in compassion. So it might be, I forgive myself for judging myself as stupid. And the truth is that I am loved, I'm cherished, and I'm worthy, and I'm brilliant in my own way. That might ring true for you. I don't know, that's just one example. Everyone's truth is going to sound a little bit different and unique to them. And the way that you forgive yourself for judging others is very similar. I forgive myself for judging fill in the blank person's name as fill in the blank with your judgment. And the truth is fill in the blank with what love has to say. All right, everybody. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. I'll be back next week. And until then, take good care of yourselves and know that if you need support in dealing with depression, anxiety, trauma, and addiction issues, we are here for you. We're just a free confidential call away. And our number is 425-275-8600. Once again, 425-275-8600. Thank you. Bye now.